Tom Clark's Main Event is a Boink Studios production. Follow us on Twitter at Boink Studios and check out our Facebook page where you can see all of our projects, past, present, and future. And now, on with the show.
This is Daddy's show. Step off.
Hey, what is up? Welcome to the program, folks. Thank you for tuning in. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tom Clark, and you are listening to Tom Clark's Main Event. This is episode number 61 of the podcast, and if you're joining us today for the very first time, we'll bid you welcome. If you're coming back for a repeat visit, we say, hey, thanks for checking back in with us. And to all those involved, we'll extend to you, as always, the customary laurel and a hearty handshake. Thank you for listening. Thank you for reading. Thanks for supporting. And hey, thanks for always being there, Doc. Number 61. We've got some road noise happening this time out because the podcast is mobile or mobile. I can never figure out which one that is. Either way, it's still fun stuff. So, how are we today, folks? Thanks again for tuning in. Glad you are with us. This is episode number 61. I am your host, the aforementioned Tom Clark, and this is Tom Clark's Main Event. So, there you go. Isn't it impressive that I've got the entire intro to the show memorized and I can just rattle it off the top of my head? Can I tell you how difficult that was during the first, part of, I don't know, could you call it season 1 of the show? Maybe. I should have split this thing up into seasons. What would this be with episode number 60? What would that? How many episodes in the season? Like 8 or something? Like maybe 10? Like if it's a Netflix show, you're talking like 8 episodes or something like that, right? So this would probably be like, oh my God, do the math. What would that be? Like 7 seasons or something? It's crazy. This is the 7th season of Tom Clark's Main Event. That's funny. Well, to me, I think it's funny. So what's been, we're moving on, crickets. So what's been up, man? Hope everyone out there is doing well. Have you been watching some WWE stuff lately? Because, buddy, I sure have. And a lot of things have went down since the last time you and I hung out together. A lot of things going on in the world of Vince McMahon and World Wrestling Entertainment. A lot of other stuff happening out there as well. Today's going to be an abbreviated edition of the show. Episode number 61 is. I've threatened such things in the past, but this time I'm being dead serious. I don't have a lot of time, but I got some stuff I want to say. And since I have the platform with which to say these things, why not get the recording happening, which is what I'm doing right now. Can you blame me? No, you can't. So the abbreviated edition this time of the main event this time I should say, is some Kevin Owens stuff. I've got the word stuff back in the title again. I'm so not creative at times. It's frightening how a creative writer can just be stuck on one word and stuck on stuff. That's me, man. That's what I do. So let's talk a bit about Kevin Owens while we've got this small amount of time together. Kevin Owens is still your Universal Champion. As of this recording, however, I should say, he is still your Universal Heavyweight Champion. I don't know can we call it Universal Champion of the World? How does that work? I don't think so. Because they don't call it Intercontinental Champion of the World, right? So I guess you can't very well call him the Universal Champion of the World. Either way. The results of the pay-per-view, the Raw exclusive pay-per-view Clash of Champions, not to be confused with Clash of the Champions, which of course was NWA and then later WCW Clash of the Champions. Since Vince owns everything there is to own, of course, they can call this Clash of Champions, duh. So that's what they've done. As we all saw, hopefully you saw, if not, spoiler, Kevin Owens retained the championship against the one and only Architect Seth Rollins. He had a helping hand at the end from Chris Jericho, of course, which honestly, we all should have seen that coming. But I think we were all just kind of waiting for Triple H to show up and screw Seth once again, but it didn't happen. I think that's being saved. The latest scuttlebutt online, by the way, is that we're looking at a Survivor Series main event, perhaps. We'll have to wait and see what happens there, but I kind of predicted it would happen sooner than that, but no, chances are if it's going to be the game, he's going to not allow himself to be like at a lower grade pay-per-view, I guess you should say. And not that Hell in a Cell is a lower grade pay-per-view, but unless I got my count wrong, Hell in a Cell is the next Raw exclusive pay-per-view. So, with that being the case, if you do see Seth versus Hunter, you're talking about Survivor Series, which is going to be January, right? Heck of a long time to keep the heat, but what do I know? They kept heat between Cena and The Rock for 12 months. So, there you go. But how do you feel about Owens retaining the championship? How do you feel about Owens as Universal Champion? For any of you guys out there that listen to the show or have read my work, then you know how I feel about Owens. I have always been a fan of his work. I think that he is excellent on the mic. I think he's a different sort of heel. I think he's very unique. I think his character is a bit eccentric, and I think that he is exactly what Raw needs, because Raw needs a straight-up, true-to-life heel, and that's what they have with Owens. I think the last guy they had that was a straight-up, true-to-life heel was CM Punk, because Punk is easy to hate. Punk's easy to love, too, in my estimation, because, I'm a fan of the guy, but he's also very easy to hate. He makes it easy, all due respect. And so does Owens. He makes it very easy to hate. I would have said the same about Seth if Seth hadn't blown up as much as he had and gotten such a gigantic babyface reaction, which Owens is not getting. People pop for Owens, but if you put Kevin in the ring against a red-hot babyface, then Kevin's going to get booed, which he should. He is heel. And in my estimation, he is a top heel Monday Night Raw. What a shift, right? What a change. What a role reversal we've seen. And I've written about this very subject recently on Sportskeeda. Go check that out. About, sort of the Kevin Owens situation against Seth Rollins and how the guys had to switch places in order to make all this work, and it really has happened that way. Seth has began to come out. He came out Clash Champions and forced, or not forced, but played to the crowd, made the crowd pop, posed, raised his arms, did things that he's never done before. When a heel walks out to each end of the stage and just stares at the crowd and throws his hands up, but he's not taunting them. We're not talking about that freaky thing that Edge used to do, where he would like squat down and do like a Dr. S.D. Williams football running back stance. You know what I mean? Running in place. It's kind of freaky. When a heel does what Seth did at Clash Champions, he's no longer a heel. He is attempting to get the pop from the crowd, and to get a positive pop at that, which is exactly what he did. So how do we feel about this? Because I got to be honest with you, I am all for Kevin Owens being the top heel on Monday Night Raw. I think it suits him. I think he's amazing in what he does, and I think he's very good. As I said before, anyone that's read my work or has listened to the show can tell you how I feel about Kevin. They can also tell you that I've been a critic of Kevin's at times because of his body. And Jim Ross has said it before that he loves Kevin's physique because he's a throwback. I love Kevin as a throwback because he just is. Not necessarily just because of the way he looks, because he's got like the Ole Anderson, kind of a thick build. But I got to be honest with you, Kevin is fat. And I know that sounds like a jerk thing to say, and I'm not hating on him at all. Dusty was fat. Dusty's charisma, his endurance, his stamina won out in the end. Dusty didn't have to look like $1 million in terms of his physical size. He was $1 million on the mic. He was $1 million in the ring. I'm not suggesting that Kevin is not those things or can't be those things. I'm not suggesting that at all. But what I am saying to you is that I'm really shocked, actually, at this point in time, that to this very day that WWE has not, sort of push Owens to get back into the, well, maybe not back, but to get into the gym. Owens' arms aren't bad per se, but in terms of how he looks physically, yeah, it's not really working. And I hold him up to the example of Bray Wyatt, which is something I've done before. And I had to do it again on this particular show, and I can't really help myself. When Bray first came along, Bray had a lot of issues physically, in my opinion. Great on the mic, good in the ring. Bray was out of shape. Look at Bray Wyatt today versus when he first came in with the family on the main roster, and it's a different guy. It really is a different guy. Bray his arms are bigger. He's thick, but he's that gut that he had hanging over. I mean, he's slimmed down the face somewhat. I think he looks so much better than he ever did before. This is not Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens looks like a truck driver or a bouncer at a cheap nightclub. See, I told you guys not to think bad of me and to say, just believe me when I said I'm saying all this with all due respect. I am saying this with all due respect, but I have to call it as I see it. And when I look at Kevin Owens, that's what I see. Okay? I can't help that. That's just the way it is. So, having said all of that, yes, I am a Kevin Owens fan. Yes, I think that Kevin is doing a tremendous job. And when the crowd was chanting, "You deserve it," at a heel, which they shouldn't have done because the crowd is full of so many smart people that just have to go against the grain. And God forbid we enjoy a pro wrestling show and love the baby faces and hate the heels. God forbid we do that. We do the opposite because we're so smart. And that's the end of my little mini rant for this moment, actually, in time. So we might come back to that before the day's over. Who knows? But like I said before, I'm a fan of Kevin. I like what he's doing. I think that he is the right guy at the right time for Monday Night Raw. And I think that if Finn were back and he were healthy, or if he never missed at all, you could be talking about an amazing feud that could be happening right now. And it would probably be maybe the hottest feud in WWE as we speak, Finn Balor versus Kevin Owens for the Universal Championship. I think that Seth is in the right place at the right time to become the number one babyface on Raw, and I think he will. If he's not, maybe that right now, depending on who you believe or what your opinion is. But I think that Kevin is in a great position, and I think that he's doing just fine. I love the tag team with Chris Jericho. It is one of the best combinations that Jericho has ever had, in my estimation. They're so entertaining, but they're so entertaining together. It really is like watching two comedy geniuses at work. It's like, Rowan and Martin, watching them together. I know that's getting lost on some of you guys, but Smothers Brothers, maybe. There's an older reference for you. I know it's weird to come up with the older references. I can't help it. I'm an older guy. You guys know that, right? I mean, I'm in my 40s, and that's as far as we'll go with that. But I can appreciate stuff older than me, so you guys should too, for crying out loud. Would you like something a little bit closer? I don't know. I could say David Spade and Chris Farley. Although, how about this? How about David Spade and David Spade? How about that? or maybe two Farleys. Who knows? But anyway, the point is, they work so incredibly well together. On camera, they're so comfortable. They never crack a smile. They're straight-faced, straight-laced the whole time. I mean, dude, they embody everything that a comedy routine can be in the business without going so far that you learn to hate the guys behind the comedy, because that happens a heck of a lot, man. I mean, because there's a fine line between comedy and annoyance. You know what I mean? Like, just making someone laugh and then making them say, "Oh, dude, please just go away." That's what happened to Santino Marella, by the by. Dude was funny. And then after a while, it just became, "Oh, God, it's him again. Crap, turn the TV." That kind of thing. So, anyway. They're not to that level. I don't see them getting to that level because, again, both those guys together are just, comedy gold. No other way to say it, man. So, let me ask you this. In reference to Kevin Owens, where do we see him in the grand scheme of things in WWE? Because he is, of course, your Universal Champion. It's a championship belt that means about as much right now as any title would within the first few months of its existence. And of course, as we've said before, people scoffed at the title. They I don't like the name, I don't like what it's called, this and the other. Semantics, folks. Know when to pick and choose your battles. Be careful. Choose your hill to die on, right? Is that what they say? So just details of it. Insane. Let it go. Who cares what they called it? They couldn't very well call it the World Heavyweight Championship. Again, it doesn't make any sense. That belt's been unified, so let it go. But where do we see Kevin in terms of brand new champion, brand new title? Here's the great part if you're Kevin Owens. You are responsible for building a championship belt. Think about that. If you're Kevin Owens, you are responsible for building a championship belt. I mean, dude, that's amazing to me. I can't wrap my head around that. Do you know what I mean? I can't, no one held it before you. I mean, Finn did, but you can't really count 24-hour title reign, right? But no one held it before you, which means it has no history, which means it's going to get critiqued, which means it's going to get slammed, which means if it has no history, ergo, it has no value, right? If a championship belt has no history, it has no value. It's meaningless. So it was deserving of a lot of, I don't really give a crap from fans. It should have been. It should have been. It's up to the company and to the guy wearing that title to make that title worth something and mean something. And that now has fallen to Kevin Owens. I hope, and I say I hope, but you know it's true. I hope that Owens fully understands and appreciates and realizes how much the company has trusted him here, and I'm sure he does. And it's not like they're doing him a favor, don't get me wrong. Kevin's worked his entire career, 16 years, I think? Haven't he and Finn been in the business the same amount of time, I believe, 2000, I think? But, he's been trusted to do this. He's worked hard to achieve this plateau, to achieve this trophy, as it were. He's worked really hard to get where he's at today. So nothing was handed to him. WWE went this route with Kevin because when you look in the WWE locker room on Monday Night Raw, you got to figure out who is the guy that could take over for Finn. Finn was your best choice. Rollins is a solid number 2. And that could flip-flop at any given time. But you need a third guy. So if you go a 3-guy system on Monday Night Raw, then it'll be Finn, Seth, and Kevin. And it makes perfect sense. So you go to the guy that can get the job done for you, as was the case way back when world championships were decided based upon who the biggest draw in the locker room was. Not just who the biggest draw was, but who was the best talker, who was the best worker in the ring, all that good stuff. And if you're lucky, you got a Dusty Rhodes or a Ric Flair who could do all 3, or a CM Punk who could do all 3. If you're lucky, you got that. We're not always lucky. Not always how it works, man. If you got Shawn Michaels, he could do all 3. So it really depends, in my estimation, who you're talking about and what era and all that good stuff. So where does Kevin fall in this conversation? I told you before what I thought about his physique, and I know I beat a dead horse with this stuff, man. And mind the turn signal, by the way, my apologies. I mean, sorry, I told you we're mobile, man, right? But, and again, I know I did the thing about the physique. I got that. I understand. And it's not a personal slam, okay? WWE goes in different directions now. Perfectly fine. Different is better. Nothing wrong with different. Different, for the most part, is usually good. Because no one wants to watch the same old product week in and week out, every week, every month, every year. Because that's where Raw got in trouble to begin with. And that's where they've fallen to the point now where, what's the numbers? I don't keep up with numbers a whole lot, if I'm being honest with you. Like half the crowd that used to watch wrestling on TV now watches wrestling on TV. It's literally like half the audience. But dude, different era, new attitude, or the attitude era is a different era. You can't really compare attitude era in the new era. You really can't. You can, but you're wasting your time. It's an exercise in futility, as it were, because it's two entirely different things, two entirely different mindsets, two entirely different audiences, really. This is not the audience that craves, the rebellion and craves, that whole, anti-rage against the system and be loud and obnoxious and we're the new Americans, that kind of thing. Don't tell us what to do, by God, and that kind of Generation X kind of attitude, my generation, right? That's not what we're looking at now. It's a much more PC society. And people crap all over WWE for going PG with a product. But look around the world, man. Aren't we a lot more PC than we used to be? We're afraid of hurting people's feelings. We don't want to say the wrong thing. We're afraid to say the wrong thing. We want to be nice and super supportive and accepting of everyone and everything. Not to get political, everyone, calm down. This is still a pro wrestling show. Thank you very much. But you get what I'm saying, man. Like, this is a different audience. It's a different time. So you have to play to what your audience is into and what your audience wants to see. So you can't really look at that and say, well, it's half the audience, but, well, they suck. I don't get that. I've never gotten that attitude, and I will never understand that attitude if I'm being completely honest with you. It doesn't make any sense to me. It really never has. So anyway, but where does Kevin fall in all of this? Again, brand new championship, brand new champion. It is up to Kevin Owens to build this title from the ground up. Can he do that? I believe he can. Well, how does he do that? Can he do it by himself? Of course not. Silly fans. The booking has to be there, right? If Kevin works a bunch of squash matches, you know what that does to the Universal Championship? Nothing. It does nothing for that title. It makes that title mean less than it really means right now, to be honest with you. And Kevin's done quite well in just, the couple of weeks that he's had the thing, 2 or 3 weeks, whatever it's been now, as champion. I think he's done fine. I think he's the right guy to build the title right now. If you don't want Seth to do it because you want to start building him for this babyface run, if Finn's out, John is on SmackDown now, and we all know that Roman's not going to do it. By the way, can we talk a few minutes about Roman? I know it's the Kevin Owens show. Ha, get it? Kevin Owens show? That's funny because he calls it that. But no. So let's talk about Roman for a minute if we can. Roman Reigns consistently booked and people don't want him booked. Dude gets booed out of the building before his music starts. People in anticipation of John boo Roman. Can I just tell you that I have been doing this, and I've been watching, and I've been writing, and I've been following, and I was in the business, and I study it, and I do everything possible that a guy who's not an actual pro wrestling promoter could do to immerse himself in the product and to enjoy the history of it and to help try to predict the future of it, analyze it. I do everything in my power to turn out good product. Hope you guys like my stuff, by the way. I do everything in my power to turn out good material. In all of these years, and I'm talking about, I grew up in the Crockett era, okay? The territory days. That's my era, man. Still my favorite era of the business, the era I grew up watching, bar none. All due respect to Austin and everyone else during the Attitude Era. Great times. But to me, you can't beat the territory days, okay? Just my opinion. But in all these years, since I was, before the age of 4 to this very moment in time today, actually, I cannot for the life of me understand why a pro wrestling company would continue to pursue a dead end. I don't get it. When it's proven there's no money. And here's the thing. This is going to sound extremely harsh. You want to piss off a pro wrestler? Tell him he doesn't draw. Tell him there's no money there. That's how you make enemies. So understand, I don't say this lightly. And I don't say this because I hate the guy, because personally I have nothing against Roman at all. There's no money there. Okay? And if I'm so wrong, then why isn't he WWE World Champion right now? Why didn't they hand that company to him on a silver platter? A lot of people think they did. Why is he still not on top right now? Why is he destroying Rusev in the first match on Raw? I mean, explain this to me, guys. Explain this to me. Why do they pursue a dead end? If I'm so wrong, then why isn't it changed? Why isn't it the other way around? There's no money there, folks. And is that to say that there couldn't be? No, sir. Roman Reigns could be the most hated heel, the most successful heel, and I know that you're not going to like this. I think he could be as successful of a heel as Jake Roberts was. I'm not talking about his personal charisma. I'm not talking about the way he connects to the fans. I'm talking about there was a point in time when Jake Roberts was hated. I mean hated. Now, he got over because he was so friggin' cool. You couldn't help but love him. And that's what turned him face to begin with. That part I get. But I'm talking about before that happened, dude was straight up hated. They despised Jake the Snake Roberts. He was the epitome of everything bad in a human being as a character. He was. People hated his guts. Okay? Before tables turned. I believe that Roman could be that guy right now. I think that Roman could come out Never mention his baby girl again. Never mention his family again. Not mention his cousins. Not mention, the times he had before and how he struggled to get to the top and how, it's all, this is the Roman Empire and my fans of the Roman Empire and this, all that other crap. And I don't give up and all that. And I'm basically John Cena with long hair. He doesn't need to do any of that. And he just comes out and he blasts the fans, calls them every name in the book, says, I didn't need you before, I don't need you now. And was I handed to you? You better believe it was handed to me. And guess what? I'm going to take this company over like you've never seen before. Use it to his advantage. Now, it's not up to Roman. You guys know that, right? It's not up to him. It's up to him whether or not he can get over. That's entirely up to him. This notion that you have to be booked in the right way to get over, I dispute that. I think you have to be booked. In other words, you got to be on TV. If you're never on TV, you're not going to get over. You'll get over that night. You'll get over in front of that small crowd. You get over in dark matches on house shows. You're not going to get over in general. Okay? Because you're not getting nationwide exposure. So I would say to you, as of right now today, that Roman Reigns could get over like gangbusters, and all they have to do, and again, it's up to WWE to make it work, because he's on TV, all they have to do is book him in the right way. Now, of course, having said all of that, as I just said, Roman needs to work to make it happen. It's up to him to get over. He's been given more than one platform, more than one avenue, more than one opportunity, more than one promo, match, main event, WrestleMania main event, dude. Dude, he main evented 2 WrestleManias. Stop for a minute and think about this. He main evented in back-to-back WrestleManias, guys. Think about that. You know how important that is? Do you know how big that is? For a guy that's not done a whole lot of anything? That's how much faith the company had in him. Notice I said the word had. I believe that there is a mandate given from the top down that they're going to ultimately take care of Roman. That they believe that Roman really does have the it factor, that they just got to keep tweaking it, got to keep doing what they're doing, and eventually it'll catch on. I got news for you guys. WWE, Vince McMahon, Triple H, everyone involved, it's not working. It's not working. If Triple H were just a wrestler, and he was still in his prime, he could do some great business with Roman. But at the end of the day, he would have to say straight up when it comes to Roman Reigns, hey, listen, man, I just don't know if this is working out. Do you see what I'm saying? Now, notice I didn't say it was impossible. I never said Roman's complete garbage. I never said anything of the sort, man. Not one time did I ever say that to you. You guys know that, right? It's never been personal with Roman. It never has been, never will be. Okay? Straight up. But dude, listen, all right? This is very important. It's not working. It's not working. They refuse to turn him heel, much in the same way they refuse to turn John heel. It's the same idea, man. They refuse to do it, so they're not going to do it because they think they know better. Their paying audience, their customer base is telling them, we don't want this. And they refuse to change it. Think about your favorite place to shop, whether it's online or an actual physical store you can walk into. And you're the customer base. You're part of their customer base. And you say you want something. They say no. Well, I don't want to buy this. Well, sorry, we're going to carry it. But no, you don't sell it. I don't care, we're going to carry it. Well, excuse me? Do you see where I'm going with this? I want this. We can't sell it to you. Why? Because we're not going to carry it. We're not going to sell it to you. Sorry. You can buy this, but I want to buy that. I don't like that. I don't care. You're going to buy that. It's WWE, baby. It's how they roll. You can't really get mad at that. You don't have to watch. You don't have to hate it or love it. It's up to you, man. So, long way around to get to this question, okay? Are you buying what Kevin Owens is selling? Are you buying into it? When you look at Kevin Owens, do you see a WrestleMania main eventer? Do you see that? I think he could do it. Can he draw money? Flip the script. Is there money to be made with Kevin Owens? Now, the question is, and I saw this recently on a Facebook rant. I'm not going to tell you who ranted because I don't give this guy time or free publicity. but he's from a very famous pro wrestling family. He's one of the brothers that you didn't know or that never made it to WWE or whatever. Okay? And he's running his mouth on Facebook. And someone made the comment, because he was talking about money, and someone makes a comment to him, why does it always have to be about the money? Why does it have to be that? And I'm like, dude, it's pro wrestling. It's supposed to be about the money. That one comment told me all I need to know about the average pro wrestling fan today. They don't get it. They don't get how important it is to draw money with these guys. It's extremely important, man. Okay? I mean, if you put Tom Cruise as the lead in your movie, you expect to draw money, don't you? Right? If you put a no-name actor in the top role in an action flick that no one's ever heard of, you might do some business. But are you going to do like $1 billion? I mean, what's the possibility of that happening? You might make your money back. You might make a little bit more of your money back. Do you have a brand new franchise? I don't know. Usually not. So think about that the next time you think it's not all about the money. Of course it's all about the money, dude. It's pro wrestling. If you're a pro wrestling promoter, you're in the business to not make money. You're just in it because you're a fan. You want to throw up a ring in a gym somewhere and run a few shows and maybe give your main event guys $20 if you got to give, maybe $10 for gas or whatever, and hope you make enough to pay the rent that night. And your concessions consists of ordering 10 pizzas from Little Caesars, and that's all you want to do with your life? Fine. But you don't want to make money? You're wasting your time. And guess what? You're wasting the time of the fans as well. Because if you give a good wrestling product, if you give a good product to pro wrestling fans, they'll pay the money to see it. Funny how that works, right? So what's the definition of good wrestling product? Good talent. Get that? Good talent to deliver the good product. That's what it's all about, man. You don't want to go see a movie filled with a bunch of no-name actors you've never heard of. You don't, do you? There's independent films, but be serious about it. We're talking about a $90 million budget, $100 million budget, whatever you want to call it, man. Okay? Whatever it is. You want to be entertained. You want the best cast possible. So why can't WWE put the best guys at the top, but the guys they believe are going to draw money? And yes, it's all about the money. So shut up. Don't be a Nimrod. No one likes a Nimrod. Lord hates a Nimrod. Did you know that? It's the truth. It's in the Bible. Look it up. It's 1 Peter something. Lord hates a Nimrod. It's true, man. Is there money to be made with Kevin Owens? I think there is, depending on who you book him against. Is Kevin the top draw? I don't think he is. I'm not saying he couldn't be. Jim Ross often asks the question on his podcast. And by the way, I highly endorse Jim Ross' podcast. If you're a pro wrestling fan, how could you not? Just saying. Jim Ross often asks the question on his own podcast. Who in WWE is really over? Only two guys, Brock Lesnar and John Cena. Only two guys that fans will actually pay to see. They've got some good talent, very good talent, who are working hard to get there. But as of right now, today, only two guys are over. Do you buy into that? He makes a compelling argument. Would you pay to see Dean Ambrose today? If WWE was coming to town, would you say, I've got to go see Dean Ambrose. I have to go see Dean. Or would you say, well, Dean's going to be there. That's cool. But, dude, I've never seen John Cena live, and he's about to win that 16th world title. Which, by the way, he's going to. You know he's going to, right? You guys know that. Don't even lie. Don't even lie. Once the guy says it, it's going to happen. Like Nostradamus, man. You know what I mean? So, is there money to be made with Kevin Owens? I hope so, because I like Kevin a lot. I really do. I think that he has what it takes to become the top heel. He is the top heel on Raw. I think he could be one of the most hated heels that the company has ever seen. But he's so entertaining. He is one great promo away, cutting a promo on Stephanie, to becoming the top babyface on Raw. That's how good he is. So, hate to say it, I love him and Jericho together, but maybe the time has come, maybe the time will come eventually where perhaps you shouldn't be so damn entertaining. I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. Which sounds like a backwards thought, but you know, when you say it out loud, it sounds weird. I want the heel to be hated. The Miz is hated. The Miz is a true heel. Do you know why? No one in that crowd wants to see the Miz win. No one in that crowd wants to see the Miz turn babyface. Knowing that crowd won't see anything good happen to The Miz or for The Miz. Want to know why? They hate him. They hate him. Why, Tom? Because they hate him as a person. Hey, man, no such thing as cheap. No such thing as bad heat. There is such thing as cheap heat. No such thing as bad heat. He's got bad heat because the heat's real. People freaking hate that dude. Guess what? It works. No one in the crowd wants to see Sheamus turn face. No one in the crowd wants to see Sheamus tagging with Cesaro. Want to know why? Because they hate Sheamus. They can't stand him. He's true heel. Miz is true heel. Sheamus is true heel. That's how it works, man. They're both true heels. Get that? So that's what you got to understand about it, man. Is Owens a true heel? He's a heel. He's not a hardcore heel. Because at any given moment, fans are cheering for him, chanting his name, and popping when his music starts, when he hits the entrance ramp. They're not doing that with Miz, and they're sure not going to do that with Sheamus. So I want you to think about that and chew on that. Chew on it, because I got no time left. I told you it was going to be an abbreviated podcast, man. I got a lot more to say about Owens, and I got a lot more shows to do, so we're going to cover a lot more stuff about Kevin as time goes on. But like I said, man, today I had a lot of stuff I wanted to talk about Kevin, just a little bit, just some thoughts and emotions and feelings and observations and analysis and all that kind of stuff. So why don't we take a few minutes, start plugging the product again. This has been Tom Clark's Main Event, episode number 61. If you follow our production company on Twitter, it's Boink Studios. My friend Kyle Smith and I own the production company. And we also are on Facebook. Hit us up, Boink Studios. If you'd like to drop us a line, it's boinkstudios@yahoo.com. Kyle Smith is available for freelance artwork. Please hit us up on the email and let him know what you think. If you like the music on this podcast and on our sister podcasts, we have two of those now, as a matter of fact. Tom Clark's 30-Minute Fun Show and also Tom and Kyle's Comedy Action Hour. All the music done on all three of these shows is by a fellow named Philip Fender. We call him Goose. Goose is also available for freelance work, so if you need anything done for your podcast or just for a tune for your show or whatever you want, he's available. Drop us a line, let us know what you want, and we'll hook you up with him, and you can get the ball rolling, Jack. That's what we do. Check me out on Bleacher Report, 6 years strong, still enjoying my gig there as a feature columnist on WWE page. I'm also on Sports Kita and on the highly esteemed Camel Clutch blog. I got to be honest with you, life beckons, life calls for the past several months, so my creative output has not been what it was, but I want to tell you guys, man, I want to get back on track with the podcast. I'm going to do the best I can to do that, and I just want you guys to know from me to you, I do appreciate the downloads, I appreciate the feedback, I'm constantly getting emails and communications from you folks, and I really do appreciate your business as always. Listen, man, thanks again for listening, thanks for hanging in there, and we will see you next time on Tom Clark's Main Event.